I, male 30, married my wife, 30, around 5 years ago. We had been dating since high school. I loved how smart, ambitious, and driven she was. We bonded over academics and nerd stuff. We had both landed good jobs in the same city right after college. 3 years into the marriage, we had our baby. We had decided to send our child to daycare after 6 months, but when 6 months were up, she refused to go to work and send our child to daycare. Her argument was if I picked up more work, we could afford a single-income household, and she'll be saving us money being a stay-at-home parent. It was better for our child as well. I refused. Daycare is normal. If only I were working, I would have to work way more hours, be exhausted, and not spend as much time with my child. I said if she was scared about daycare, we could work different shifts to stay home with our baby, like a tag team. She refuses, saying that doesn't work for her, and that as a mom, she always needs to be with her baby. This caused a huge fight between us. She quit her job. She took care of the baby during my work hours and wanted me to take care of cooking dinner on weekdays and cooking, cleaning, and baby care on weekends because a stay-at-home mom deserves breaks too. This dynamic made me resent her. I tried communicating many times. The load of bills, insane work hours, and inability to enjoy time with my baby all deeply upset me. I filed for divorce when I was sure she wouldn't listen to me. The court gave 50-50 custody, no alimony or child support, since I proved it was her own decision to stay home, something I never agreed upon, and her career break was only around a year. I moved back in with my parents, and they also have room for our baby. Meanwhile, my ex-wife is struggling to live paycheck to paycheck. My baby stays with my mom when I work. My mom offered my ex the same, but she was so mad at me that she refused my mom's care and enrolled our baby in a daycare. I refused to pay for it since she could leave our kid with my mom. My ex-wife and her friends called me an idiot for divorcing her over being a stay-at-home mom and not providing any support. Am I the idiot? Everyone needs to be on the same page once children are involved, and you were not. You're not the idiot for not wanting to be the breadwinner, cook, cleaner, and weekend nanny. Obviously not. You chose to divorce your wife rather than miss out on seeing your child grow up. And where is there supposed to be time in that for your well-deserved break? I'm sorry for your child that this ended in divorce. You tried to communicate your desires many times. Agreed. Marriage is a partnership, not a dictatorship. You had a plan and a verbal agreement. Your wife reneged on the deal and decided to become a stay-at-home mom. Marriage does not work like that. And now she had to go back to work. And where did the baby wind up? In childcare. Yep. Notice how daycare to help the marriage was unacceptable, but daycare out of spite is perfectly fine. She didn't want to be a stay-at-home mom for the baby. She just didn't want to work. This is one of those screw around and find out scenarios. The courts decided custody and no child support, not you. Her decisions put her where she is right now, and that has nothing to do with you. Enjoy being able to spend more time with your kiddo. Bingo. She should have gotten a rich man to get her pregnant. She figured if they divorced, she'd get alimony and child support, not work, and just enjoy being a mom. She's been dying to quit her job and be a stay-at-home mom. Husband be darned. Her overconfidence, however, was her weakness. She absolutely shot herself in the foot, and I'm glad she didn't get child support and alimony. I'm terrified of getting into a relationship with this type of woman, someone who's just waiting to bait and switch. 5 years ago, I married Jonathan, 45, who has a now 23-year-old daughter who's a college student. When we got married, she was starting college and had lived in dorms ever since during school time. And in summer breaks, she lived with us at home. Kind of, but she did travel a lot with her friends and also stayed some time with her mother. So she stayed with us a month maximum. Later on, when she was 21, she decided to live independently, even during summer breaks. My husband and I also decided to buy a new house for ourselves. It's a very small, cozy house consisting of one bedroom, which is the master bedroom. I'm a professor, but I mainly work from home as I give online classes, not at a university. My schedule goes from 8 a.m. to 6 p.m. with breaks in between. First, I used to do it in-house, but it was distracting for my husband and me, so I rented a studio. But that wasn't ideal either, as it's expensive to rent, and studios had almost zero resources for me to use in breaks. So I decided to reform the house by installing an external studio that will be attached to the house, like garages basically. And my husband agreed. Mind you, I paid for the whole process alone. Now my stepdaughter had quit her job, fired, and can't pay rent for the home or even dorms, so my husband told her she could come. I talked with my husband, reminding him that we only have one bedroom, occupied by us. He said his daughter could sleep in my studio if we got her a bed. I told him my studio is basically my office. I work there for long hours and she's a college student who's not going to go to work. She needs to focus and so do I. Adding a bed can't be an option because my office desk occupies most of the space. If I got rid of the desk, I can't work. He told me this was an emergency and I could rent a studio for myself again. Now, I paid to install a permanent studio in the house so that I wouldn't pay rent for other studios. I already paid for a studio. Why should I leave the studio I paid for to rent another studio? If renting and being in other studios was practical for me, I wouldn't have gone through the headache of reformation. I told him instead of asking me to leave my property and go pay rent, he and her mother could kindly rent her a place until she finds a job. She can't be with her mother as she's in a different state from the college. He doesn't want to pay her rent because he sees this as an opportunity for him to have a father-daughter bonding, and he wants her close. His counterclaim was that I earn more. While I do, in fact, earn more than him, I don't see this as a justification to have me pay rent for a studio when I already own one, just so he and her mother can save their money and not like they're poor. I don't know about my husband's ex, but my husband isn't poor. Now, he promised his daughter a place in our home, but I'm not backing down. OMG, not the idiot. And he's a leech. If he wants more time for bonding and whatnot, it's on him to pay up. Plus, she's a grown-up and needs to find a job. And he can't ask you to compromise your income. They can't take over the room you paid for while you pay for rent at a new place on top of it, just because he wants father-daughter time. Ugh, what's with him trying to financially exploit you to save himself money? He's taking you for a ride. Your money isn't his money, so he doesn't care if you lose it. He shouldn't have offered her your studio without discussing it with you, and he shouldn't have offered it because he didn't pay for it. OP, get a lock for your office, or he'll move her in when you're not around. Yeah, bonding on your dime and at the cost of your job? He has it easy. That's what the couch is for. If he's working and you're in the studio, she can crash on the couch for a bit. She would need to find a new job pronto, and a couch would keep her from wanting to stay longer. Thanksgiving is coming up, and it's our turn to host. I'm from Montana. I met my wife while I was stationed in Southern California, and my wife decided to move back to Montana with me. I own a bison ranch. I've always been an avid hunter and fisherman. My house is a very old style, almost like a hunting cabin, and I have taxidermized heads of several deer, antelope, and a bull moose. My wife grew up in a very liberal, artsy hippie home in San Francisco. Her family are militant vegans and atheists and are unbearable to be around. I don't mind people with different lifestyles as long as they don't bother me. They're the type of people who basically always talk about being vegan and atheist. They mock me for being a Christian, conservative, and quote, redneck. They say I'm not cultured, ignorant, and all this other crap. We don't really get along. I usually just try to keep the peace, but they always like to pick fights with me. And when I don't bite, they continue to push it. They say I brainwashed her daughter because she votes the same way I do, loves fishing and hunting, goes to church with me, and prefers Montana over California. So here's the conflict. My wife wants me to remove all the taxidermies, the crucifixes, the rifle I hang on the wall, and anything related to hunting, fishing, religion, or whatever they hate to appease her family. I told her no, that they're in my home and they don't have a right to change it. She says she understands that this is frustrating, but she'd like to maintain a good relationship with her family and that this could avoid some conflicts. The final straw was when she asked me to make a tofurkey, or whatever this dumb tofu turkey is called. I always make turduckens, but this time I plan on doing a 4-bird roast. My sister, her family, and my parents are also coming over, and none want this vegan crap. I told my wife her family can bring their own vegan food. There'll be vegan sides, vegetables, mashed potatoes, stuffing, and other stuff, but that's not enough. We keep having arguments about this. I think I'm on the right because it's my house, and more of my family than her family will be there. My family loves my wife, but her family treats me like crap, so it's frustrating. Am I the idiot for refusing to appease my wife's vegan and atheist family for Thanksgiving? Judging by your tone, I would say everyone's the idiot. Her family for mocking your religion, your wife for trying to get you to take down your decorations, and you for speaking in this vegan crap tone. None of you respect each other. In an ideal world where people would be decent and respect each other, you would make a vegan option for your in-laws, or maybe your wife could if she has a better know-how on the dish, and they would accept that the rest of you are eating meat. If you want to take the high road, make sure there is a vegan option for them, at least. I can't imagine that any of these people want to spend time together. Ideally, everyone would respect each other's views and preferences, but based on the story, that'll never happen. OP, why are you, or maybe your wife, trying to force this? Why not just have Thanksgiving with your family and then go to see your wife's family another time? You are the idiot, as you appear to dismiss what your wife wants. I'm not saying that you should be doing everything that she requests. However, she doesn't seem to be on board with Montana living as you describe, as she wants a relationship with her family, while you don't. She appears to be caught in the middle of a feud between you and her family. My 28-year-old female husband, 32, has OCD, which has worsened in the past few years and manifests in him constantly moving items around the house. I try to be mindful of this because I know he can't help it, but I just don't understand what sets him off and what doesn't, especially because his preferences always seem to change. He describes this behavior as cleaning, or when he's annoyed with me, as cleaning up after me, although it's nothing of the sort. It's not even really organization. The things never get moved to a designated place. They just go to wherever his whim dictates, whether that place makes sense or not. This results in me frequently losing essential items like keys, bills, and things I'm actively trying to use. I wouldn't have nearly as much of a problem with this behavior if he cleaned the house in more meaningful ways, but he doesn't. Sweeping and vacuuming, all me. Dishes, all me. Dusting, cleaning the toilets and shower. My kind of cleaning that involves removal of filth, all me. He doesn't usually see me clean because I prefer cleaning when he's out. I work from home and he commutes, but it really should be obvious how much I contribute. But that's not how he views things. A couple of days ago, as he was doing one of his cleaning sessions, he started berating me about never doing anything to keep the place clean, and that he cleans up after me all GD day. This set me off because I had just spent a long time earlier, that day, painstakingly scrubbing every inch of the master bathroom toilet. I said that I had a hugely disproportionate housekeeping workload, and that his habit doesn't count as cleaning to anyone but him, that the house would be a sty if he was the only one taking care of it, and that he needed to start contributing to housework instead of just shuffling stuff around and making me lose my things. Ever since that argument, he's been very short with me and avoiding me. Was I in the wrong here? Edit. He was diagnosed with OCD in his early 20s before we met. He had a very negative experience with therapy, and if I had experienced what he did, I would also probably be scared of trying it again. Not the idiot. There are two issues. He isn't appreciating your labor, and you think his labor is genuinely unhelpful. You two need to sit down and divide up chores intentionally. You're not satisfied with how much housework you're doing, and he's not satisfied with it either. So once you two are calm, it should be a conversation that you both want to have. Cleaning and tidying are separate categories. What he's doing might be tidying, but it isn't cleaning. Cleaning and hygiene are far more important to the health of the people in a home than tidying is. Use this language to help. Also, OCD is a really awful thing people live with, not a habit. Please don't say that ever again. Growing up with a father with untreated OCD, I empathize with you. All he would do was move things around when he was cleaning, which was an everyday occurrence. I'd lose things, and he would swear he wouldn't touch them, but he would move them to different spots. I think what needs to happen is some professional intervention for his OCD, whether that be therapy or medication, or whatever other outlets make sense for him. Otherwise, it won't change no matter how many times you talk to him about it. And the more you talk to him, the more he'll get frustrated. Stop cleaning when he's not home and do it in front of him. Show him how much you do. Keep a journal for a week or a month. Every task you do. Stop cleaning for a month. My ex did make the same comment to me. He didn't have OCD, and I was so hurt by it, I stopped cleaning. Then shock, horror. And I don't agree with some comments. Clean when he's there. Show him what you do. No, screw that. He's not a child. He should know by now that things don't magically get clean by themselves. Stop cleaning and let him see what you're bringing to the table. My wife and I have 3 kids, a toddler, a kindergartner, and a preteen. We both work full-time and the youngest is in daycare. The older 2 are in public primary school. Both of us make pretty good money for our area. My wife recently had an old boss reach out, who's now a VP at their new company. They're hiring for a director position that would pay about the same but offer a fancier title. The thing about this job is it would require extensive travel, both internationally and domestically. She would be on the road roughly 50 to 75% of the time. She got the offer last week and asked me what I thought. I was honest that I'm not cool with her taking a job like that while the kids are so young. With both of us at home and working full-time, my hands are full enough as it is, and I can't imagine how it would be to basically be a single parent 50 to 75% of the time. She was very upset as she hadn't traveled a ton in her life, and this would be an opportunity to do a lot of it on the company's dime. I told her that as a compromise, we should find other areas in our budget to cut back on to try to do more travel together. She's mad at me and saying I'm being unsupportive of her dreams. Personally, I feel like she's an unsupportive spouse and co-parent who wants to put all of the parenting on me the majority of the time. Am I the idiot? Not the idiot. The pay's the same and the benefits are worse, which equals a downgrade in overall compensation. With your wife being away that much, your household expenses will likely rise, occasional childcare, increased eating out, buying new things because neither of you has time to repair. Your family will be worse off financially. That's before even starting to address the missing personal time of evenings and possibly weekends while she's away at work. Frankly, I can't even believe she's considering it. You are being a responsible spouse and father. You have a family, and it's best served with 2 active and present parents. This isn't a dream job. It's a cool job with perks that serve her at the family's expense. So she wants to travel. Lots of people want to travel. I wanted an Aston Martin Vanquish when my kids were preteen. I had the income to afford it, but it was a selfish desire and not practical. Somebody needs to be the adult here. In this case, it's you.